what is your full name pronunciation?
Actually, Leonardo, Davinci, Stephen, Jeremy, right? My parents thought it'd be funny if they named me Leonardo da Vinci because they saw in the newspaper that the Mona Lisa was coming to Trinidad and they were going to show it there,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's where they came up with the name Leonardo da Vinci
Mm-hmm.
as my name,
Mm-hmm.
and Stephen is my father's name, right? So
Father's name.
yeah, my father's
Mm-hmm.
name. So that's why he wanted to put his name in there. So
You do like that? Do you like your parents' idea about your name? It's so unusual.
yes, it is. It's very unique, right? They all call me Da Vinci, right? Not by my real first name, which is Leonardo.
Mm-hmm.
And so I prefer people to call me Da Vinci, not Leonardo, because like some people call me. When I tell people that it's Leonardo da Vinci, they start calling me Leonardo. I'm like, no, that's never gonna work. It's Da Vinci. So
Nice.
yeah.
I'm very glad to meet you a few days ago, and I said in Russia that 1 week ago I had a dream to find one day a person, a man who have more information about Bitcoin, who maybe were between in who were in the beginnings when it started.
Mhm.
And a few day after this dream, my friends introduced you to me, and I was very happy. And now, really very interesting to know more about Bitcoin, about this system, about investing, and different knowledges, maybe about mistakes and some advices from you, what you can give to people. My first question is, when did you start to invest in Bitcoin?
Well, I started to invest in Bitcoin back in March of 2011. I actually heard about it in February 2011, and it took me a while before. Like first, I think it was like at the beginning of the month, I believe, of February. It took me a while to do the research to find out what it really was.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a software developer, I basically read the source code and looked into it, and I realized, oh my God, he did it. Satoshi Nakamoto. He solved the double spend problem. And what that is basically, how do you tell when that a digital asset hasn't been, if I send it to you, I haven't sent it to somebody else. So for example, we can copy music, movies and so forth. I can give you a copy of the music and I give another person a copy of that music, right? We can't have that when it comes to money, right? You want to make sure that if I give you the money, I can't give somebody else the money as well, the same money as well, because then there'd be unlimited amounts of money. There has to be a limited number. And so Satoshi, what he did, he came up with a system to make sure that there is a limited amount of money and no one can cheat the system. No one can actually try to spend more than what they have. And so this is this problem that just computer scientists all over the world were trying to solve and thought it was impossible to solve. And it's because I knew I had already learned that it was impossible to solve, and then realized that he did solve it. It was a no-brainer for me. It was like, oh my God, he solved something that was impossible. So this thing's going to be worth millions one day because of that. And so that's why I did a video saying, hey, my next video, once I understood what it was, every once in a while, something comes along that makes poor people rich, and this was one of them. And that's why I wanted people to buy this at $1. And I thought I was the people's savior because, I saw everything because of my monetary history background as well, because I studied monetary history. So I know a lot about about money, and I know exactly why Satoshi stayed hidden. If I was Satoshi, I would have done the same thing. Nobody would know. I could be Satoshi because I wouldn't tell you if I was, because I'd be dead.
Interesting that yesterday I heard that you said about that YouTube channel about Bitcoin you had started more early, right?
Yes, I did. I had a channel like at the very beginning of like 2008 when I realized that the financial system was a fraud. What happened was a politician named Ron Paul said, our financial system is unfair. It transfers wealth from the poor and the middle class to the rich. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. That's not possible, right? Why would the government do that? That'd be bad. Like an idiot. Anyways, right? Because he was debating on a Republican debate, and I noticed that everybody said, "Hey, yeah, that's right. Let's move on," and they just moved on like it was no big deal. Like that was. I'm like, I think that's important. Wait a second here. But nobody cared the debates. They just moved on to non-important issues that are just irrelevant when it comes to like your wealth, right? Because you work hard every day. Everybody works hard every day, and if a system is stealing from us, that's something we need to learn about. And so I decided to learn more about that, and I was quite shocked. I actually felt like I was falling through the rabbit hole, right? Alice in Wonderland, because it opened my eyes to so many things that I didn't see the government was doing. What the government was doing, now I saw it clearly, and it was kind of scary, because when you believe that the government's all good and beautiful and wonderful, and that's how you grew up, changes your mind real fast, and then just kind of scares you a little bit, right? So I understand why when I was trying to explain to other people what was going on, they thought I was a little bit crazy.
It's like a fairy tale about Robin Hood. You're Robin Hood?
Robin Hood. No, not really. I'm just trying to teach people how to avoid the government fraud that's being perpetrated on us, right? With our current financial system, right? This financial system is all worldwide. It doesn't matter whether you're in Russia, whether you're in United States, or in Chile, or anywhere in the world. You're running on the same system. You need to protect yourself by purchasing assets that are going to increase in value, and make sure you take possession of it, and make sure you don't get taxed on the inflation. So, for example, governments not only do they tax you for what you work for, but also when the way they steal the money is because they print more, and then prices go up. And so when prices go up and you go and sell the asset that you've purchased, right? Then they want to tax you again. So they cause the prices to go up, and then they want to tax you again? No. It's such a huge fraud. That's why when I first started, I said, listen, take hold of for your gold and silver, make sure you keep it on you, and when it's time for you to use it, you just quietly sell a little bit at a time to use it, and never tell the government, because you don't want to be taxed on the increase in the value of the gold, because it really didn't increase in value. It's just the money that they used to price it decreased in value. And so they want to tax you on that when they caused that in the first place.
Interesting. What will be happened with governments and with countries which are already exist? They have their own rules, they have own territory, and what if Bitcoin, this system of Bitcoin, the system of Bitcoin has a very high speed of developing, and what will be with countries all over the world if it continue like this?
Okay, well, everybody thinks that, because Bitcoin its objective is to take over as money, and governments, well, they're not going to like that, because they can't print money. What? I can't print money? I can't steal from you? No, that's not going to work. Yeah, of course they're not going to like that. But in the past, governments didn't like the fact that we had books, right? When they invented the Gutenberg press, no government, no church, they didn't want that. So, and books are physical. The same with the Gutenberg press. It's a physical thing that they can go and hunt down and destroy. But they didn't stop it, right? We have books today, right? They didn't want that, but it's happened anyways. right? And it enlightened the human race, and God gave us more intelligent people because of that, because they had access to books. Can't stop an invention whose time has come.
Mhm.
Now Bitcoin is a digital asset that allows people to store their wealth and, you know, watch it increase over time.
Mhm.
Whether or not you believe that is not too relevant. It helps you if you do understand and believe it, because you'll go out and buy Bitcoin. But if you don't see that, don't worry, you'll get it in the future, and then you'll be able to protect your wealth. But the key thing is that the governments are never going to be able to stop this, because there's no physical asset, right,
Mhm.
to go after. There's nobody. If they went and, like, for example, if you had a bunch of gold in your house, like just to say you had $1 million worth of gold, they can easily just, you know, attack your house and take the gold. If it's a corporation who has billions of dollars of gold, they could just bomb the building
Mhm.
and then, you know, dig through the rubble and get the gold.
Mhm.
They can't do that with Bitcoin. Right? Right? They can't point a gun at somebody and say, no, we don't like this system, we need to change it. No, because it's decentralized. There's no person to point a gun at, right? It's completely, it exists like gold. Who's you going to point a gun at, right? To say stop mining gold? You can't. People will always mine gold and produce more gold,
Mhm.
right? So I mean, it is unstoppable. Now, what are the governments going to do, right? Well, they're going to try. They're going to fight. They're not going to lie down and do nothing, of course.
Mhm.
But in the end, they're going to lose, right? Because you can't stop this from happening at all.
Is it right that in future Bitcoin system will help about connecting people between each other, connecting countries, and take over borders between people and countries, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Most of our Bitcoins, a lot of things that you see today, a lot of the problems you see in the world today, Bitcoin solves. You're like, how could a money system solve all the discrimination, the hatred, the border divisions and all that kind of stuff? You're like, how's this possible?
Mhm.
Well, let me explain. The reason why we have all these divisions, this hatred, right? Whether it's Black Lives Matter or whatever nonsense that comes out, they're actually been done by the banking system. And why is that? It's because they understand that this system that comes to an end for them.
Mhm.
It's like any Ponzi scam. Any scam
Mhm.
always comes to an end. And so they want to make sure that we're divided, so we don't see what the real issue is, what
Mhm.
caused the real problem.
Mhm.
And if we're divided, it makes it easier for them to control the
Yeah.
information, right?
Mhm.
They understand that. And this is why, you know, people that I know that are in the media, they get paid a lot of money to
Mhm.
support whatever nonsense group, right?
Mhm.
Like, I don't know, I'm not going to mention any more groups, but they try to create us groups
Yes.
so that we fight against
Yes.
each other
Yes.
and not see what the real problem is.
Yes.
Right? And so the borders and everything that we have are all caused because when money moves up to, it's like when we have a system of theft, right? And a system of theft that's through fraud, who are going to be likely to, when they realize what it is, right?
Mhm.
And they see it, who is likely to use a system of theft and fraud? Obviously a criminal, obviously somebody who's bad,
Mhm.
because they want to steal from everybody else. And once they understand that this is a method to steal from everybody, they'll move into that. And do you think they're going to want to do things that are good? No. So once we have a monetary system that moves money away from those people to the rest of the population that want to do good,
Mhm.
we'll actually have more. We'll have people that will vote in, actual people who will do things right, that will actually stop all this nonsense that's going on.
Mhm.
And so over time, right? Bitcoin will cause that, but it won't be seen as the Bitcoin as the cause. It's because, you know, it'll happen slowly and gradually, and nobody will understand that, hey, wait a second, we're having a renaissance, right? Because this has happened before through history. Whenever governments decided to switch from bad money to good money, a massive renaissance occurs because everybody gets an opportunity to earn wealth, save it, and watch their wealth grow over time instead of shrink. And so that means, like, for example, an artist can plan his life, right? And build a great artwork without having to worry about, hey, am I going to be starving the next day?
Amazing, you know. I want to share in 2011, in this year of starting everything, my friend told me about this system, and he told that the mission of the system is to destroy countries and to destroy government. And I felt then that what is the very bad mission? What is the very bad idea to destroy countries? But only now, after conversation with you, I understand that idea is more deep idea, is very good. It's opposite to connect people. It's so important because we are so disconnected between each other about religions, about territory, about visas.
Exactly.
Everything.
This is all caused by current financial system,
Yes.
because they want this division.
I feel now really, I don't know, amazing. I translate in Russian.
Okay. I'm glad. I'm very
Thank you,
glad.
really, thank you for explaining me this.
Yes, it's just when you're into this system, right? You need to have a lot of people to tell you more and more about it. You have to listen more, and because everybody will have their own ideas on what Bitcoin is to them, right? And that might not resonate with you at first, right? Because, you know, in that example where that person said, hey, it destroys government. Yes, it does, but not like it's not going to destroy them over like instantly and make them disintegrate. It's more of like it's going to slowly take them apart, right, and make them smaller. Right, government will still be here, it'll still be a lot smaller. This is what we need: smaller government. Because when you think about a large government, try to consider, oh, wait a minute, you're doing something wrong over there. How do you tell that large, massive government that you need to stop doing that and do it this way? If they're so massive, it's impossible, right? But if they're small, it's easier for individuals in that country to make changes, right? It's easier for them to protest and have the government do something different.
It means that people will take more powerful to
Yes.
their voices,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Вау, nice. Это означает, что люди получают больше власти и больше силы своему голосу, своему мнению, своим решениям. Верно?
Yes, exactly.
You understand Russian now?
No, but I'm assuming
You
that.
are so quickly learning. Amazing. Oh, about missions. What is your mission? Your own mission?
My personal mission is to actually just teach people about Bitcoin and how to protect themselves about this current financial system, right? A Bitcoin is one form of protecting yourself. It's not the form. It's just one of many forms to do so. But it is the best one that we've come up with, because you will have your wealth increase exponentially compared to anything else,
Yes.
right? So you just have to wait. Don't be impatient, right? Don't buy Bitcoin tomorrow and then go, okay, I bought it and I'm not a billionaire now. What the hell?
What's happened?
What happened? I should have been a billionaire right now. So if you're willing to wait 5 to 10 years, right? You're just constantly buying more and more Bitcoin, like I did when I was only started at $1. remember, most people laughed at me because I bought Bitcoin all the way up because it started at $1, and I bought it all the way to $32, and they were laughing as it crashed back down all the way down to $2 by December of 2011. And people were thinking, "Oh, see, you're an idiot. You wasted your money." And I'm like, "No, I didn't. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting. I know what this is. I know what it's going to do. I'm just gonna wait right here."
У вас, наверное, нет страха. You have no fear inside of you, right?
Exactly, because I knew what it was. It doesn't matter because it was something. When an invention that was thought to be impossible becomes possible, it doesn't matter what somebody thinks the value is today. All right, for the short term, the long term is what you need to look at, and people are going to find out that this is something that's going to change their lives and be useful in their lives, and they're going to buy it. And look, MicroStrategies is a company, right? The owner of that company is named as Michael Saylor, right? He started buying, and he took all the money from his company, took all the $500 million in his company and moved it into Bitcoin. And in fact, people joke right now because he's constantly buying Bitcoin and millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, 250 million here, $250 million here, there. And they wonder if he has any furniture in his house. See, did he sell all his furniture in his house to buy Bitcoin? And at first, when he first heard about Bitcoin, he thought it was a scam. He's like, no, just get that thing away from me, right? And the only thing that gave him confidence to buy Bitcoin is because what happened was back in 2020, March of 2020, the government started printing a lot of money, about 25%, increasing the money supply by 25% a year. And they promised to do that for the foreseeable future. So his company was actually marked down, meaning that considered valueless, even though his company was making $75 million a year profit and $500 million in cash. And he's like, "Why do you think my company's garbage? I don't understand." And so he did some studies and he found out that since the government's printing 25% of more money every year, that means his cash within 3 years will be worth half. His income will be worth half in 3 years. And he realized he had to do something about it. And so when he did do the research, he found that Bitcoin was the best asset to own. And then he went all in.
Wow. Interesting to know. What was the price of Bitcoin when you just started to invest in this?
Me? When I started to invest in this? Well, I told everybody I bought it when it was $1, right? So that's
$1.
Yeah, March of 2011. This was $1, right? So, yeah. I mean, yeah, I have videos, right? So if you go Google my videos, I have like a group of videos of all of 2011 where I talk about it and I tell people to buy.
$1 of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I suppose you're a very clever man.
I mean, I wouldn't say I was clever. I just had the right knowledge, the right time, and the right, and I was doing the right thing at that same time. Because if I hadn't been doing YouTube videos about gold and silver, I don't think I would have saw Bitcoin until most people did as well. So yeah, I was just in the right place in the right time, and I also with the right knowledge, of course, because it requires knowledge to understand what it is.
It's about good quality of catching your possibilities, which appears in your life. Right? Because in 2011, there were a lot of people who heard about this, who have knowledge about this, but they just prefer do nothing. They had also this opportunity.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Yes?
I knew a lot of people like that that heard about it, but it was like, it's too hard. It's too difficult. I don't know.
Yes, this is very, very important.
That's true.
Maybe this is secret information, but I ask, maybe people also interested in this. How many Bitcoin do you have right now?
1 million Bitcoin, because I'm Satoshi Nakamoto.
Million? Million Bitcoin? Really? Oh my god.
I'm kidding.
showing you golden ring. Bitcoin.
I put it on the middle finger because Bitcoin, right, gives a finger to the banks. So it's
About banks. If people have savings, some savings, what is better to them? To take this savings and go to bank and put it there, or to take it and put it in Bitcoin? What is difference?
I'm not going to tell you to put it all in Bitcoin. Reason why, not because I don't want you to do that, because the problem is Bitcoin is not a company. There is no business. You can't really call somebody for tech support here. So it's very, very dangerous. If you make a mistake, you could lose a lot of money, and people have. People lost their life savings because they made a mistake. They transferred the money to the wrong place, and they can't get it back, right? So you have to be very, very careful, right? And do some research, learn how to use Bitcoin, because there is no one to call if you make a mistake. If you send the money in the wrong place, if you lock your money up, or if you lose your keys, which was most likely most people do, is they lose their password, they lose their keys, and then the money's gone. I mean, it's still there, just no one can get it. Right? That's why I recommend that people take it slow, right? Do their own research, head over to bitcoin.org, start doing some reading, right? Get yourself comfortable with Bitcoin first, because that's what the professionals do. That's what Michael Saylor, that we talked about earlier on. He didn't just jump into Bitcoin. He had to do a lot of reading, a lot of research, a lot of studying, right? Yes, it's work, but it's worth it. It is worth it, because this is going to be the money, and you want to catch this now before it becomes the money, because you don't want to be those people who heard it back in 2011 go, it's too much work. Too much effort, right? Because you're going to regret it when it becomes money, and you're like, oh, I should have just bought a little bit.
After a few years.
Exactly, yeah. After 5 years, you're going to be like, oh, I wish I just bought a little bit.
I need your advice. I'm from Russia, in St. Petersburg, and not far from St. Petersburg. It's about 20 minutes from the center of the city. I have a house, very big, beautiful, modern house. I like it so much, and forest around, river. And I have this house, and I understand that I about 2 years live in Thailand, in Pangam, mostly travel. And I like this lifestyle, to traveling, to see different places, to meet different people. And is it right if I will sell this house and part of this money to send to Bitcoin? Or what should be this part? Or how to better to do with this?
I have an answer to that. Yes, I do have an answer for this. It's the thing is, right? Real estate is not going to do very well during our ending of our financial system. The reason why is because our financial system ends in a hyperinflationary event. And there's examples of what happens during a hyperinflationary event. Is one, people are able to borrow money at 0 interest rates to buy a house. And what does that mean? Okay, so they can borrow money, big deal. Well, the thing is, our banking system, when somebody goes to borrow money, this gets printed right then and there. This is what's causing the prices to inflate. So, for example, your prices of your house have inflated astronomically only because somebody can actually print money and buy it. The same with education in the United States. The only reason why education is very expensive is because somebody can print money and pay for their education. So the education constantly goes up in value. They even talk about that at the Federal Reserve, and at the government level, they even have documents saying, you know, if we just stop lending people money,
Mhm.
prices of education will go down.
Mhm.
But we're not going to do that. so,
Mhm.
yeah, this is where, so your house is really overvalued, effectively.
Mhm.
Most people's houses are overvalued. Not every single property, because there is the key thing, location,
Mhm. Yes.
which is totally different, right? Right, certain property will go up a lot faster than others. However, in the majority of people's properties out there, that valuation is a lot less once we go through a collapse.
Mhm.
And then imagine what the real value of your house is going to be. It's what the value of somebody can pay for it, cash.
Mhm.
And since currently most people can't even afford to get $1,000 together,
Mhm.
think about what the real value of your house is going to be
Mhm.
after the whole system collapses, because it's going to come to an end.
Mhm.
Any fraud always comes to an end, right? And our system is a fraud, right? Our financial system is a fraud, and it will come to an end. And when it does, that means people are not going to lend money for people to buy houses. And then when it goes to the other side,
Mhm.
there's not going to be that. And so your house's value is going to go down a lot,
Mhm.
like in Venezuela and so forth. You can research this yourself. Now, so what do you do? So, well, our current financial system is running right now.
Mhm.
You can go and borrow money at next to zero interest rates, print money, take that money, keep the house, right? And
Mhm.
rent the house in order to pay the payments,
Mhm.
right? And then you put the money that you take out of the house by borrowing against it
Mhm.
into Bitcoin. Right?
For example, if I take money from bank, yes, and I have possibility, for example, to put this money to Bitcoin, or I have possibilities to buy a few flats, separate flats, and also continue to make rent. How it's in
Yes,
English?
rents. Yeah, that's not a good idea.
Or why?
Because one, rents, because people, as our system collapses, right, these people will not be able to afford to pay rent. People will lose their jobs and so forth.
Mhm.
And also on top of that, you won't be able to raise rents when prices of everything going up, right? The government will prevent you from raising rents,
Mhm.
right? So the best way, if you want to buy flats, you get the banks to lend you the money to buy other flats, and get people to rent it. That's the best way to do it. Don't use your own capital to buy a house,
Mhm.
because just like I said, the value of that house will go to nothing. So you're destroying your capital,
Mhm. I
Right.
understand.
right?
Mhm.
By doing that, by taking that, borrowing the money and moving it to another house that's going to lose value. No, Bitcoin and gold. Even if you bought, like, I wouldn't buy gold. I'd buy silver. But the silver's so hard to hold because you get so much of it. It'd be difficult to manage, right?
You can take your how is it?
Yeah, it's a big bag. Even then,
Like
it's-
like Santa Claus.
Exactly, no, the sack, right? Yeah, no, you wouldn't be able to even do that. It'd just be too crazy. The key thing is to own other assets. Like, for example, if your home was a farmland, right, it was different, like farmland,
Mhm.
that'd be a completely different story.
Really?
Yes, because everybody needs to eat, right?
Mhm.
So, farmland during the hyperinflation environment will go increase in value significantly.
And
Right.
for example, if someone have a big farm, how it's
Yeah, large farm.
Land?
Yeah, large farm.
if someone have big farmland, what he will do with this?
Well, the farmland itself will increase in value a lot more than a home,
Mhm.
just a regular home,
Mhm.
because as people will only center on purchasing things they need, which is food, right? That farmland will increase in value significantly because you'll be able to raise prices easily because you're actually producing
Mhm.
what everybody needs,
Mhm.
right? So that's where farmland would be something different.
Mhm.
I mean, you can still use it to increase your wealth by by borrowing against the farmland and buying Bitcoin, and then you'll be able to pay it off, pay off that loan later on when Bitcoin is a lot higher. But you don't have to take that risk really with farmland.
Like I said about myself and my friends, what I notice in real life, that mostly we have no information about money in our school, in our university. Our parents, our families also know nothing. And after that, what we started to do, we just go to work since 10 till 6 or 8 or more every day, year by year, and after that life is finished and people don't understand what's happened. Where is their time, where is their dreams, and so on. And the question is where to find this information about financial education. Yeah, where to find?
Yes, exactly. This is done on purpose because once you see the banking system, this case started to be prevalent. I mean, it's been existing for 2,000 years, more than 2,000 years, this current system. It's just been on and off, right? In certain places in the world, it would just be like, they'd use it and collapse really fast, and then, they go back to gold and silver. And it only became like worldwide effectively 100 years ago when the Federal Reserve came into existence. And once they took over, they realized that they had to control education. So of course these bankers, they started paying for everybody's education, of course, making sure that they would not talk about how the monetary system worked. And then they realized that, hey, wait a second, you know what? The best thing for us to do is to actually get people to vote for government to give them free education, and we'll control the government the government will pay for the education, which is everybody else, and not the rich, right? Obviously, who are super wealthy, and they would control the government to not make sure that nobody learned anything about how the monetary system worked. So it's quite ingenious, these guys. Right? That's why no one knows that, hey, how money works and why the system is a big fraud. Because if you did, right? Ford said it best, right? He said it's well enough that the American people do not understand our financial system. For if they did, there'd be a revolution by tomorrow morning. And it's so true.
If America understand, American people understand.
Yeah, exactly.
But all about the Russian, all Russian people think that America is a dream. To go there, this is the country of opportunities, it's country of freedom.
No, it's not.
No?
I thought it was too.
It's about like fairy tale.
It's a huge lie fairy tale. Yes.
Hollywood story.
Yes, that's what it is. Trust me, you don't want to go there. It's worse than friggin' Russia is.
Yes.
I mean, the police can rob you, right? Legally rob you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so they write, like for example, I'm Canadian, and they give you a warning. Do not go to the United States with any cash because the police can take it from you. And there's no way to get it back, right? So, it's very, very, it's not the same country it used to be. So for example, if you were to go to the Washington Monument, right? Take the Constitution, go there, and start reading it out loud. You'd get arrested.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Hate speech.
Oh, wow.
Now,
it's okay that we discuss this and make video. I'm scared a little bit.
Yes, but if you go to Moscow, the Red Square, you read the Constitution, nobody's going to do anything to you.
Okay.
Right? They don't care.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But that's how bad America is for.
Yes. Interesting. About YouTube, your YouTube channel. You teach you teach people by your YouTube channel. Do you have maybe some instruction, maybe some short information in text maybe.
Mhm.
Do you have something like this to share this information with people? No, you know, first steps, what to do, how to understand, what is the main.
I don't have a good. I want to do that. I want to put together something
You
decent
want-
like that.
Mhm.
I have to do that because that's the main thing. I just want. At first, when I started this off, I didn't expect to be popular.
Mhm.
Right? I wasn't wanting to be popular. I didn't
Mhm.
want to be people to get to know who I was and stuff like that. I just thought I'd just help a few people, right,
Mhm.
on a one-on-one basis.
Mhm.
And of course, now that I've gotten this big, I think it's time for me to do something that's similar to what Mike Maloney, his name is Mike Maloney of goldsilver.com. If you head over to his channel, he has a series of how money works,
Mhm.
right? It's called Hidden Secrets of Money. I want to do something similar to what he's done there.
Mhm.
That's a perfect educational
Yes.
course right there
Nice.
on how money works.
From me and from all people who will be watch this video, to try to make this instruction to people как это, in close future. Is it possible?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
We really want.
Exactly. I will because
Okay.
it's not that hard, and I just need to start doing it. So I'm gonna actually, you know what? Today I'm gonna start making a small step towards that.
Nice. Thank you.
Mhm.
I want to read really. For me.
Mm-hmm.
How many subs don't watch
Subscribers.
subscribers? How many
Subscribers do I have?
how many subscribers do you have? Yes.
Right now I have almost 300,000 subscribers. That's 200. Last time I checked, it was almost 290,000 subscribers.
If people know nothing now, for example, what first 3 steps they need to do to start investing, to start to understand?
3 steps. Well, first is education, of course. You have to learn, right? Because
Mhm.
before you jump into anything, right? Because when I first heard about how our monetary system worked, right, and I started reading, right, and I started learning about it, I didn't actually take action right away. I actually continued my education for quite some time, and then I actually took action. One of the things I did is I sold all my stocks, sold my house immediately. Yeah, so got rid of all my what's it called retirement funds, because the retirement funds was all crap anyways, and went all straight into gold and silver, right? But I didn't do that like the next day when I understood it. It took me some time, right, before I actually
Step by step, slowly.
took action. Yeah. So everybody will take action on their own time, right? But the information is there. What I'm telling you is, I'm not trying to force you to go buy Bitcoin tomorrow, right? What I'm trying to do is just say, learn about what's going on, and then you'll automatically do what you need to do to survive it. So.
Yes. What is the 5 the biggest mistakes of people? What they never no need to do?
Well, one is the one mistake is when you listen to an influencer like myself, and then that influencer somehow contacts you, right? And he says, "Hey, invest with me." Don't do that. It's not me. It's not any of the influencer. They never contact you for money. If somebody pretends to be me or pretends to be my company, asking you for money, no, that's a lie. But one of the number one mistakes that people make is they think that somebody goes and contacts them pretending to be me, but it's a fake person, and they take their money and run away with it.
Okay.
Right? That's the problem, right? That's the number one problem. The next thing that people make mistakes is they start buying into Bitcoin, but they want to be rich tomorrow. So what they do is they go, okay, well, there's these traders over here. They're making a lot of money trading. I could trade. Yeah, don't trade, right? Unless you take a lot of time to study how to trade, do not trade, right? That's the number one. That's the second most biggest way to lose your money, right, is to trade, right, on by following. Even me, I have like videos that I talk about trading, right, but you shouldn't trade even under my trading advices that I provide, because it's just trading entertainment, what I call it. And really it's very, very dangerous, especially if you don't understand that you how to manage your money when you do trade. Most people don't. So don't trade. Next is a lot of people want to, once they get into cryptocurrencies and get into Bitcoin, they immediately learn about all of the other cryptocurrencies that are out there. And they feel that, well, you know what, Bitcoin is too high, right? Too expensive. I want to get something that's cheap, that's going to make me a millionaire one day, 10 years from now, and I'm going to be good, super rich and all that. And although there are currencies that will do that in the future, but there's going to be a very small percentage of those. The majority of them are going to go up and then come back down and go to zero, right? And you're going to lose a lot of money. A lot of those people are going to lose a lot of money because a lot of people want to put all their wealth into that one particular coin that they think that's going to go to the moon. And most likely it'll go high. But then there will be a time, the odds are it's going to crash to zero and go to zero and not be worth anything. The odds are that that coin that you choose will not be worth anything in the future. So be careful of that, right? There are methods. I do have a method in order for you to trade those particular cryptocurrencies where you could trade anything. It's called the little old lady method or little old lady strategy. You can find out more about the little old lady strategy by heading over to www.davincicodes.net/videos, where I talk about how you could buy low and then sell half on a double and take money out of the market and increase your wealth in Bitcoin, both in Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it's an easy method. It doesn't, I mean, it's easy relatively because everything is relative, right? There is a little bit of a work to study and learn how to use all the systems, but once you do, once you're used to it, then it becomes very boring and day-to-day very easy to do because the process of the little lady strategy is very, very simple. Once you get all the systems together and it's just like, oh, I just draw these fibs from here to there and wait for her to buy it over there, and that's it. And then once I buy it, I sell half on a double. That's it. On doubles, and then I sell half again. That's it. And then every day you're just going there, drawing these few lines and buying here. It's just become extremely boring, but it's very simple process, right?
We talk about 4 mistakes. Never do it. 5.
Okay, number 5 would be investments, right? What's the difference between a bad investment, somebody who's scamming you for investment, and an investment that is not going to work out? There's a very fine line between that, right? And so you will always be, especially if you're making a lot of money in this space, you will always be getting access to investments, right? And it'll be difficult for you to tell the difference between a scam investment and a good one. And so a lot of people want to throw everything at it or throw too much money at it. And one of the key things you can do to help prevent you from losing all your money or losing your wealth is to manage your risk and never put in more than 5% of your total investable capital into any one project. Right? If you can just do that, right, and avoid the mistake of throwing too much money at a project, you will be so happy, because I have fallen in love with a project that was fine and good and wasn't a scam, but it went to zero because it didn't work, right? And so, but I only put in maximum of 5%. It hurt because 5% was a large number for me. but it doesn't destroy me, right? So that's the key. And really, it should be less than that. Really, you should put that threshold at 2%, so that if you're completely wrong it's like, oh, whatever.
Nice.
Whatever.
This is 5 mistakes of people never do it.
Yeah,
Thank you
eating
very
too
much.
much.
For me, it was very interesting, and I'm looking forward to see your information, maybe in some instruction form,
Exactly.
in little book. I will, or in video. Yes, for me it's very interesting to know how to do it more slowly, quickly, and more clever.
Exactly, yes.
Thank you very much
Yeah.
for your mission, what you do, and for your. What is your wish now? The biggest wish now?
My biggest wish right now is that, that more people understand Bitcoin, and also, right, I would love, right, the government, United States government to collapse, because like they are so dangerous. But my biggest wish is basically just that everybody understands what Bitcoin is, because then they definitely have a huge advantage, because it doesn't matter even though I want the United States government to collapse, it will collapse based on the fact that people will have access to Bitcoin. And if everyone has understanding of Bitcoin and understands money, then man, our whole world will be a lot better, a whole lot better. Because now even the poorest person can actually pick themselves up out of poverty.
Really, thank you.
Thank you
Again.
very much.
And I want to say to people, I wish to you be happy in love, in happiness, and I wish to all people also be in love, in happiness, and in freedom, financial freedom. And my own wish is, when you get your financial freedom, please
do what you really love to
Yes,
do. Do your passion.
yes.
Live your passion.
Yes, really, because money gives you free time,
Exactly.
and this is free time is your own life. And my wish, very deep wish, every person to make every person realize his purpose, everyone to do what
they want to do in their lives, right?
Yes.
And so if you want to be an artist, be an artist. If you want to be a singer, be a singer.
Yes.
Right? Just do the best you can that you want in your passion.
Yes. Try to open yourself. Try to find your inside talented. And I know that everyone is unique and everyone have a lot of inside possibilities that we need just to open and show to another people, to open to the world.
Exactly. You're welcome. Awesome.